Casey here. Really excited about today's video and training. I wanted to show you guys how to identify breakout trade. Now, I'm really going to go into detail on this, and I'm only going to focus on one thing today just because I want to really hammer this message home. I think this is going to be really valuable for a lot of people. So if you're interested in this and you want to see this get out, just hit that like button right now, please. And make sure you hit the bell because I'm going to continue to share with you on my journey to doubling my account multiple times. But today's session is just strictly training because I want to really focus on nailing this in. So let's go ahead and get started right now. Okay, so what I've done here is I've added a couple things to what I normally use. I normally use this MACD and the 50-period moving average. And so what I want to really identify here is these two. So let me just clear off the chart right now. So we want to start out a weekly time frame, and you can see that right now, if we zoom this out a little bit, you can see that we are in a downtrend. Okay, and so there's a lot that goes into place on this downtrend. We can talk about fundamental analysis and what's going on in the economy and all of these different things, but the one thing that you have to realize is that it is still moving down, right? And no matter what we try to determine in our own minds about whether the economy is going to do this, if it's going to do that, the price is the true news, okay? What is happening in the price and what's happening in patterns, right? So we can see that this is still moving down. So ultimately, we've got to be thinking of this as a downtrend, okay? Now, that doesn't mean to me that I have to take this as a short, but it just gives me a general idea. And this is a weekly time frame, and so, you know, in weekly, things get really large, and so you could get a lot of different directions here in a massive up move in a downward trend. I mean, we saw right here, it went from here, it went all the way up 1,200 pips, right? That's a big move. So no, not saying that we have to do that. And right now, if you look at the current move, we're right in the middle of this zone here. We could either go up or we could go down. If we go up, we've got, 500 pips to get to this resistance point. If we go down, we've got 600 pips to the support. Okay, so that's just one thing I want to notice here is that we are currently in a strong downtrend. Let's zoom it up a little bit, look at some of these candles. One other thing that you can notice here is that we're below these moving averages on the weekly, and this is a 50-period moving average. I like to use this as my trend indicator to say what the current trend is. We recently broke this MACD on the weekly, and it's headed down. Okay, now one other thing to note here is that the MACD just crossed right here, and so if we were going to take this on a weekly long-term trade, it could have got us a nice 1,300 pips. So I really, the Savvy MACD is in the link below. It's a free MACD tool that we've created for everybody. So if you want to grab that, just grab it and use it. But I want you guys to start thinking of some long-term trades. Now you have to do a little bit bigger stops, but you can always drop down to lower time frames and try to catch big moves on a longer-term trade. Because if we get into this on a long term, if we bounce up here and you catch this MACD move, you can see where it crosses, and this, if we would have got in here, would have been a great trade. And now this weekly MACD still shows that it's got some room to burst down. And so if it does, then we have some momentum here. Okay, we have some distance. So we could put this line right here as a potential target, okay? And always important to know a potential target. So just think about the possibilities here. The Forex market is famous for whipping people out. You got a good trade and it whips you out. So just think if you could get in on a 15 pip stop, you knocked this thing out, you could triple your account on one trade. No joke, if you're planning and timing and you're using it right. So what I'm going to give you today is a little bit of tool to help you identify some real breakouts. So Now that we have this in play, one other thing I want you to notice is the weekly, we've been going sideways. Okay, the MACD is going sideways, the weekly is going sideways. So let's go to a daily time frame right now. Okay, so on a daily, you'll be able to notice we had a big strong move down, a big move up, and now we're just straight up flat. And so I've had a little bit of trouble trading because I've made some good positive trades because these is a daily and I've been able to make some moves, but nothing big, nothing major. And so our goal is to try to find the big stuff. So the thing that you want to notice here is that we're currently in a sideways market. Okay, currently since what day? Since March 30th. We've actually been going since March 30th sideways, and now it's already May. So when you see this, there's a couple things you want to notice. Number one is that this trend is still moving down, okay, and it's in line with the weekly, okay? So that's one thing. The next thing is you want to notice is this MACD. See how it's like a twisted chain? It's almost like you take a chain, a twine, and you're rolling it up and you're twisting it, right? You see how that works? So that means that there's not much happening here, okay? Not much. This is just a big blob. So at this point, not a lot of action. Okay, the next thing I want you to notice is this is the ATR, average true range. And what this means, the definition for the ATR is trades that are, the definition is average true range. And what it means is the amount of pips that the price moved over the last 14 days. Okay, so you can see when this was moving here, the ATR was all the way up at 0.035, and now it's at 0.011. So it's dropped a lot. Okay, so here's what we want to notice is, so that means that now the average true range is only a few pips, whereas before it was really high. And so we notice that the market is flat. We notice that the MACD is twisted, and we notice that the average true range has dropped, and the pips are much smaller. Okay, so now let's go to the third thing that we're noticing. The third thing that we're noticing is that volume is drying up. See how it's just trended down here? Right. So now for us to understand when a breakout, this whole trading is about breakouts. When you see this, when you see this twisted chain on the MACD, when you see the sideways market on the charts, okay, and you see this happening, and the ATR, you see the volume getting lower and the ATR, that's telling us a really big thing is about to happen. Because the market is drying up and it's getting small, but it's getting ready for a move. And so when traders are trading in this, they're getting chopped up. And you guys have seen me. I've had a little bit of trouble recently with the choppiness. It goes up. You think it's going to make a move. Like I was long on this pound down in here on this break. If you guys remember, I was long. And I was hoping for a breakout and a move up, but it didn't happen. And I ended up making a few profits on the trade, but not a lot. Okay? Just a little bit. And little bitty winners are not going to help me grow and double my account. I need the big boys. I need the big winners. So now, how am I going to get that big winner? Well, I have to watch for a couple things. So the first thing I got to watch for is price. I need a nice burst of price through one of these levels. And, we have this range, but it could come through on a lower, like a move like this if we see a break up. Or if we see a break like this, a really strong break here, although this is not a great trend line, so I'm not going to use that. A strong break below this channel here, a strong break above this with lots of momentum and lots of power. Like you see how we started to get the power here? Okay, let's go back to this one bar when the move started. What were we? See, it didn't break any levels. This first move here didn't break any levels. I mean, it broke this daily candles, but it didn't break any levels. But what we noticed is that it started to get a nice burst. In the ATR started to pick up. You see that, how the ATR is starting to pick up? Okay, so that's a really important clue here. And then the next thing we notice is the MACD starts to move, and then there's a volume spike. You see how volume started to spike up, and then you see how the volume was then now moving upwards here. You can see this, and then we were kind of moving up before we even saw the spike. But the volume actually started to slowly increase before the spike even happened. Okay, so trading can take a lot of patience, and the good news is there's a lot of setups like this all the time, so we can look through all of the different charts. But you can build your strategy around something like this and say, okay, what is the market doing right now? Is it trending? Is it consolidating? Is it reversing? And so right now, I've shown you a lot of reversal stuff. I've shown you how that works. I've done a lot of reversals, but I haven't really shown you guys a breakout yet. And so that's why I saw this today, and I thought, wow, I need to really jump on this. So now you're asking, well, what do we need to happen? Well, we need to have a strong candle here, a strong candle, and it doesn't have to be up or down, either one. We need to start see the MACD strengthen a little bit. We need to see the ATR move up. Okay, so this range could stay really slow and tight for a while, but we need this thing to start to turn. So we could even put a little line here and say, okay, I want to see the ATR pop above 1.013. Okay, because if let's pull this up a little bit. You see it hasn't really moved up above this level in a while. So we can say, okay, I'm looking for the ATR to bop. Then the next thing we also need to happen is we need this volume. We need this volume to bump, to pop up, because it's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So when we see all those things happen, then we know that the breakout is imminent. Okay, and then if we get it even before the price breaks, we could take that trade just because of an anticipation of a breakout. You saw this one that I showed you from the past. This was a nice strong candle. That would have given us a good signal, because what? ATR started to move, volume started to move, the MACD started to move, and so it was an indication that the price was ready to go. Okay, and so keep that in mind when you're looking for great trade setups. And hopefully this has been helpful for you today on how to identify breakouts. Okay, so if you've enjoyed this training, please go ahead and like this video right now. Hit the notification bell so you can get updates on my account as I'm doubling, tripling, quadrupling my account. You guys can see exactly how that does and how I trade it. And so the question is, yes, is a crossover on the MACD an indication of a trade? It could be based on your strategy. I don't always do it that way. I usually do when the MACD crosses the zero line. Let's zoom that up a little bit. I like to see here, across is a great way to go long. Okay, yeah, sure, that's a great trade. But when it's twisting like this, that's not a good signal for me, because it's so tight, there's not a lot happening. And so anything can happen at this point. It could go up or down. I'm just waiting for the ATR to start moving, for the MACD to give me a clear signal, and for price to happen. And when we do that, then you can definitely show yourself when this can actually be a great breakout. So remember, you're trying to grow your account. And whatever type of way you want to find this, that's fine, but this is what works for me. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to double my account, how to double your account in the next however long it takes. We're going to I've already doubled it a couple times, but we want to keep doing it over and over and over and over again. And I want to show you guys how to do that by making good trades. So now that we're on, I'm going to show you a couple trades that I've been looking at. I'm going to show the US yen. So US yen is currently in a downward move, but we're getting a pop to the upside. And so what we could do with this is we look at it now on an hourly time frame. It's very much overextended on this hourly, so I wouldn't want to go long on this at all. Maybe if we get a little bit of a pullback and it's showing that it's still going to go, but if it breaks, if this 3-day trend continues, we get a pullback here. Let's go to a 15-minute. If this price pulls back below the 50 moving average and then pops up, very much interested in a long here, but right now it's just too far over. Okay, and also, to be honest, based off this daily, we're still trending down. So if I get a strong down move, I'd probably be very comfortable taking this short. The MACD is currently short. If we look at it on a weekly time frame, the MACD is short. The trend is moving down. And so anytime I get a nice daily move to the upside, if I get a nice strong reversal on a lower time frame, you know, if I get an hourly reversal here showing yes, this thing's going to start going down, then I'm looking for a short. I already had taken a couple good short trades on this earlier. You guys had seen that. And my biggest target here on this, you guys all know that I've been looking for this. Well, not all you guys know. Some of you guys know that have been watching my stuff that I'm looking for it to go down here. So that's really good. Really good looking at this. And so great comments, guys. I love it when you say that the MACD cross is too late for you. That's good. Your strategy is really a fast-moving strategy. You got a great strategy, so congratulations on that. Maybe you could teach it to me sometime. I'm always open to learn, so good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So that's what I'm thinking on the US yen. Not really available to take a trade right now. Got to wait. I'm also, let's take a look at the USD CAD. Let's put this and take a look at this. USD CAD on a daily. If we look, this is on an uptrend, but it's very similar. This is weird. I don't know what all that is. If we look at this on a daily, you can see that the MACD has been moving down, and now it's about ready to cross. And so right now we're also in a range here. Okay, just like the pound. So really, I think the dollar is in a place where we're waiting for the dollar to make a move. Okay, so we don't know where this is going to go. Right now it is bouncing off of this. So if we look at it on a 15-minute time frame, if we're just looking on the short term, it popped up. It currently is really strong today, but it's just like the US yen. I'm going to hold off on this until I get a deeper pullback and then see a continuation in the direction of the trade. So right now, not a lot, but just on a long-term basis, if it breaks this to the downside, there's a lot of room down here. I mean, we could actually hit some of these lows here. So if it does get a nice break below here, a nice momentum move here, and remember, we could also check at the ATR to see when the price, what happens with that ATR. So let's go ahead and do that. There it is. Okay, so you can see the ATR is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and so it's continuing to shrink. And if it has a nice burst to the upside, we could then begin to look for a trade once we get that. So, and this volume indicator is a lot different than the one I just had. Okay, so there we have it. You can see the volume's getting smaller also. So if we get a nice burst in one direction or another, it's very similar. All right, guys, I'm going to take off for that. But remember, this is what we're just in review, what we're looking for. When you're looking for a breakout trade, you're looking for flat movement. You're looking for the MACD to flatten, you're looking for the ATR to flatten, and you're looking for volumes to go down. And that's usually an indication of consolidation. And so we don't want to get chopped up in this chewy chop fest. What we want to do is wait for we see some of these things break. A strong price action move, a strong move on the MACD. We want to see the ATR tick up, and we want to see volume increase. When we see all those things, we know that a breakout is coming, and then we could ride that wave. That will help us from getting faked out from fake breakouts. So hopefully this was useful for you guys today. Make sure you hit that like button. I really appreciate it. It's been great working with you guys. I thank you for your kind comments, Greg. Just hit that like button and share this, and that really helps me out. So again, thank you guys, and we'll see you guys very soon. Oh, wait. For everybody that's here, I want to tell you, I got a really cool interview happening at 1 o'clock today. Okay, and it's going to be recorded live. It's a really great guy. He's going to be talking about day trading. Okay, so day trading is really cool, and he's going to be talking about it on how to make 5% on just one trade and then be done for the day. So it's pretty cool. Stay tuned at 1 o'clock. It's going to be on Twitter, Facebook, and here on YouTube, whichever channel you prefer. But I highly recommend, if you're available, check in, because this guy's got a wealth of knowledge, and I'm really excited to be doing the interview. Okay, all right, and it's going to be fun too. If you guys want to have fun, that's, trading can't all be boring and looking at the charts all the time. You got to have a little bit of fun. So he was a fun guy, and he's smart, and he's really successful. So I'll see you guys then, but make sure you hit that like button and the notifications so you get notified when the interview starts. But it is going to be starting at 1 o'clock. Eastern time. Yeah, Eastern time. And if it's bedtime, you can catch the recording on the podcast. All right, guys, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot.